The last city burned. Smoke swallowed the horizon, and the bones of our kind blackened under alien fire. We thought we had nothing left, until, buried beneath the ruins, we uncovered something older than our enemies, something older than humanity itself. We hadn't found salvation. We had unearthed the very reason the stars feared us. Before we begin, if you're listening right now, make sure to subscribe, because what you're about to hear isn't just about survival. It's about the terrible things we bury and what happens when they rise again. The city was gone. Not conquered. Not occupied. Gone. Alien bombardment had erased the skyline into jagged wounds of twisted steel and collapsed stone. Where children once played in light-filled parks, there was only soot. Where markets bustled, where lovers strolled under neon skies, there was nothing but silence broken by the soft fall of ash. They called themselves the Veil, a species wrapped in armor that shimmered like molten glass, their ships cut across the heavens with the indifference of storms. They had come for Earth with the certainty of predators, not out of hunger, but habit. They had done this to countless worlds before ours, and they nearly erased us in days. I was there when the last human city fell, when its shield domes cracked under fire, when its defenders fought, not with hope, but with the bitter pride of a species that refuses to kneel. I remember the smell of burning plastic, the cries of the wounded, the taste of grit in my teeth. When the bombardment stopped, there were less than a few thousand of us left, scattered through basements, tunnels, and wreckage. I was one of them. My name doesn't matter anymore, because after that night, none of us were the same. We should have died quietly. That's what the Veil expected. Ashes on the wind, fading into history like all the other civilizations they had harvested. But survival is a stubborn seed, and desperation pushes humans to dig where wiser souls would never tread. That's how we found the chamber. It wasn't part of the city. It wasn't on any map, wasn't etched into any archive. The entrance revealed itself when the ground caved under collapsed rubble, opening a gash in the earth. We lowered lights into the fissure and found stone, but not just stone, carved walls, reinforced with a metal no one could identify. The architecture was wrong, angles too sharp, lines too precise. It looked less like construction and more like containment. We pried open what looked like a sealed hatch. The doors bore markings, not alien but old, impossibly old. Symbols none of us could read, etched with a precision that felt deliberate, like warnings carved into the bones of the world itself. We should have left it closed, but the Veil had taken everything from us, our homes, our families, our future, and so, faced with nothing, we chose curiosity over fear. The hatch groaned open. Air spilled out, stale, dry, preserved for God knows how many centuries. And behind it lay a tunnel that sloped down into the earth, lined with inscriptions and murals that had long since faded. The deeper we went, the more wrong it felt. At first, the murals seemed to depict human figures, not stylized or symbolic, real, detailed, faces and forms that mirrored our own. Only the scenes weren't of triumphs but of terror, armies marching into voids, cities burning not from outside invasion but from within. It was as if our ancestors hadn't built this place to honor something, but to bury it. And at the very end of the tunnel, in a chamber vast and circular, we found the thing that should have remained forgotten. It wasn't a weapon, not in any way we understood. At the center of the chamber stood a stone sarcophagus. Its surface was covered in symbols that burned faintly with a light that seemed alive. Around it were thousands of bones, arranged not in chaos, but in deliberate patterns, like sacrifices placed to guard or to trap. The air was colder here. Not the chill of absence, but the presence of something vast and waiting. We gathered around it, whispering theories. Was this a vault? A grave? A forgotten relic of humanity's first age? Some said the sarcophagus was empty, a symbolic coffin meant to hold the sins of a past we had erased. Others insisted it contained something alive, something that had once walked this earth and been locked away. We argued until one survivor, a soldier named Callan, struck the surface with his rifle butt. The sarcophagus cracked. Light bled from the fissure. Not warm, not holy, cold, hungry, sharp as glass. It spread across the chamber like veins in stone, rushing outward until the entire room pulsed with that strange illumination. And then we heard it. Not words, not a voice, but memory. A flood of images crashing into our minds, cities aflame, skies torn open. Not the veil, not any alien we had ever seen. No, these were battles older than our history, wars fought by humans against something not from the stars, but from ourselves. And in those memories, a truth revealed itself. The sarcophagus was not a coffin, it was a prison. The stones split, and from within came not flesh, not bone, but ash. It rose like smoke, coiling into a shape that almost, but not quite, resembled a human. It had no eyes, yet it watched us. No mouth, yet it spoke. It didn't speak in sound. It spoke in thought. You have awakened me. We staggered back, weapons raised, though we knew bullets would do nothing. You burn in the fires of conquest, it whispered into our minds. Your enemies above are but children. They take, they consume. They are nothing compared to what I once devoured. We demanded to know what it was. A god? A ghost? A weapon? It laughed, though no sound reached our ears. I am what you buried. I am what you feared. I am your inheritance, written in ash and bone. Callan raised his rifle and fired. The bullets passed through harmlessly. The figure only tilted its head, as if amused. I do not hunger for flesh. I hunger for memory, for fear, for the marrow of the soul, and you reek of despair. It didn't kill us. It didn't need to. It simply followed when we fled, rising from the tomb like smoke escaping a jar. The Veil found us again days later. Their patrols descended on the ruins to mop up survivors. We expected annihilation. Instead, we witnessed something else. The figure of ash stepped into their path. The aliens fired plasma lances, artillery, energy weapons that had turned our armies to slag. But the ash consumed the light. It drank the fire, unraveled the beams, turned their weapons into silence. And then it struck. Not with claws, not with blades, with memory. The Veil screamed without voices, collapsing as their minds cracked under weight they couldn't comprehend. Their armor writhed, their bodies convulsed. In moments, an entire platoon fell, their weapons clattering uselessly to the ground. The figure turned to us. This is your enemy? These hollow things? They are carrion. I am war. Some of us saw hope, a weapon powerful enough to fight back, a chance to turn despair into survival. But others saw the truth. We had not unleashed salvation. We had unleashed something worse. It began to follow us, like a shadow tied to our bones. It didn't ask permission. It didn't need to. But it whispered, always whispered. I can give you victory. I can burn their fleets. I can hollow out their worlds. All I ask is to be fed. Fed what? We asked. Not flesh, not blood, memory, fear. Give me your ghosts. Give me your pain. And so, in desperation, we began to feed it. Survivors whispered their losses into its formless shape. Mothers gave it the names of their children. Soldiers gave it the screams of the dying. And with each offering, the figure grew stronger. The Veil fell before it. For the first time since the war began, humanity fought back. Not with ships or guns, but with the oldest, darkest thing buried in our past. Yet even as it won battles for us, we felt something dying. The more we gave, the less we remained. Faces blurred in our minds. Names slipped away. Our grief, our history, Even our love began to hollow. Until one day I realized I couldn't remember the face of my own sister. The ash had taken her from me, not her life, but her memory. We had freed something ancient, and now it was feasting, not only on our enemies, but on us. And as the veil fleets burned in the skies, as their armies screamed into silence, the figure whispered again, "You see now why your ancestors buried me. You see why they turned their cities to ash. For I am not your salvation. I am your inheritance. And you will never bury me deep enough again." And I realized then the cruelest truth. We hadn't won. We had only traded one extinction for another. That was the story of ash and bone, a story of what we dig up when desperation outweighs caution. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments. What would you have done? Open the chamber or let the secret rot forever beneath the ruins? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves dark stories of survival. Because this is not the end. It is only the beginning of what humanity finds when the past refuses to stay buried.